Good morning, everybody. You are listening. Go ahead. Say that again. I'm sorry.
It's good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon. That's why you're in the big seat, because you're going to bail me out.
It's too funny. You do that every week.
I
It's
do.
always good morning, and I'm like, really? I thought the show's at noontime? That's okay.
I like
That's
to be a
okay.
late sleeper in the weekend. All right, so I want to make sure everybody's good. The sports master's right there. That's good. And no mics are on fire, so that's also good. 1, 2.
Excellent. So how are you this morning?
Good, thank you. Great way to start my morning.
Yeah. So everyone knows that it is Dom's birthday today. We want
Yeah.
to wish Dom a happy birthday.
Thank you.
Please call in
Oh,
and
yeah.
wish him a happy birthday.
Well, first, I'm glad you said that. So first, I need to thank. I want to make sure I get the mics right. 1, 2,
Oh, yeah,
Hello.
I can hear.
3,
Can you hear me?
4. Yep, you're all good. Yep, you're all good. So I want to give a big thank you to everybody that reached out on LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook. My grandkids from Peabody called, and my brother. That was cool. And then my nieces reached out to me, and all my friends and all the other people we had a chance to talk to that came into the station, like other coaches and kids and stuff that friends with, and then some of the kids over at Bristol Plymouth that I coach football, and when I sub over there, when I substitute teach and try to mold them young minds, all that other fun stuff. So I want to say thank you for the reach ups, for all the birthday wishes, because they keep on coming in.
Well, you're well loved, Dom.
I appreciate it. It's overwhelming, it really is, but it's all good. So today we are going to have Rob Peters. He is the former assistant coach of Scituate boys hockey. He just got the job over at Whitman Hanson. I thought that person's waving hi to us coming out the window. I looked to my left. I'm like, are they waving hi to us? Well, they'd be waving at Justin, not us, because Justin's looking right at him. But
No, they were looking straight. They need to concentrate on the road. They're driving.
Exactly, yeah.
Good point. 2, 3, I got it right. So a big thank you to everybody with all the birthday wishes. So Rob Peters is going to call in about around 5 past, any minute, I hope. And we'll have him on and we'll talk. I don't know. We'll talk, do what we usually do. We'll give him a big congrats, which he was well deserved, because he was probably, they don't get paid a lot of money to do it. And
Okay, so Rob Peters
is the new head
is
coach.
the new head coach at Whitman Hanson.
Correct, the new boys hockey coach. Used to be over at Scituate, but anything.
Oh, all right.
But you guys know it better than anybody. So when we get him on, he can educate us in his hockey career.
Yep.
He must have, knowing, oh my God, I forgot, Bob Rogers. And here he comes in. And before I answer that, I want to give another big shout out to Nate Rollins, who actually set this up for us.
One of our sports beat writers
Yep.
out there. Hey, Nate, thank you.
Yep, thank you, Nate. And I believe this is Rob Peters. Rob, is this you?
Yes, it is. How are you?
Good morning. Thank you. Let me just turn you up a little bit here, make sure we're all set. Thank you for taking your Saturday, this beautiful Indian summer Saturday, and the chance to educate us on what,
So weird to call it Indian summer.
Indian summer.
Right.
But first of all of us at 4 Deep Sports and WARA 1321 want to say congratulations on your new gig over at Whitman Hanson.
Oh, thank you very much. I greatly appreciate it. And it's funny. You talking about the weather right now, and my wife and I actually were just on the porch, like our back deck, cleaning off all of our kids' toys, and I feel like we're doing spring cleaning instead of fall cleaning.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. That's funny. So the good thing about our show, and I know from us going back and forth, about us now, and that's the good thing. So you can fill us in how the season goes, if God willing, if we have a season, which I think we will. Is that you can also spread the word that we're out there. Even the guys, even your old friends out in Scituate, you can let them know we're out there for them as well.
Absolutely. I first of all, I just want to appreciate you for even considering interviewing me, and kind of want to learn a little bit more about myself and what maybe is going to be happening next year with Hanson and moving forward. So I appreciate that, and anytime high school hockey is going to get some support, I know all the coaches and administration loves it. So
Absolutely. So we were kind of first, today's my birthday, so I want to get all the birthday wishes
happy
out.
birthday.
Thank you. So if you see a blind caller, come in and they wish you happy birthday, right now today they're directing that at me. I don't want to get you off beat.
Well, I mean, my birthday's in August, and with this weather, I mean, I could be confused.
So the realist of it. Now I coach over at Bristol Plymouth. All these guys know that I do the freshman team. All right. So the way people need to realize, and we talked this just, but I mentioned this briefly just before you called, and I'll let you know before I get into my comment, is that you have Luz Cabral, who's been with me for over 5 years. You have Catherine Conley, her code name is AKA KC, and you have the sports master, Justin Ferrera. So we'll be jumping back and forth asking you questions as you educate us on your history and your knowledge of the hockey and what you expect and what you're hoping to see at Whitman Hanson. But one of my biggest points is I want people to realize you're not getting paid $80,000 for this gig. You're doing it because you love the sport. And it was a great opportunity for you to come on and, help out the program. And it's not like you were by yourself. You probably went through 6 other candidates, possibly more, I'm thinking. And again, congrats. That's a credit to you as a person and as a hockey coach. And I want to get that out there right away because I don't think people realize that, you're making the big check. As much more than, you're going to get paid, obviously, by the school, but it's more a love of the game than anything else. Would you agree?
Absolutely. I've been around the game, basically my whole life since the last, 31 years, and I'm 35. So, but I've been around the game, since I was little. I have an older brother who played, and even when I was little, going to the rink, and he was playing before I put the skates on. It's a sport that has been in my family for years. My mom's brother he played, and it kind of instilled that onto my brother and onto me. And I also come from a very similar kind of background with Massachusetts. I come from Chicago. That's where I'm born and raised. Up until I was about 21, 22. And hockey's big there, just like it is here. So it doesn't take a lot to kind of gain that passion for the game. Having 2 original 6 teams with the Bruins and Hawks, the game's been around these 2 cities for a long time. So it's definitely a hot sport where I'm from. It's a hot sport here, and there's definitely a lot of passion. I would say though, high school hockey in Illinois is not as big as it is out here. Through my experience the last couple of years of coaching in Massachusetts high school hockey, I think it's great. I think the Wednesday night, Saturday night matchups. And I know you referenced Scituate. That's where I was the last 2 years. And playing at Habermock when you walk in at 7:30 and the rink's jammed from the game before, and it's a great feeling. And so it doesn't take a lot to keep having that passion. That's for sure.
Oh, absolutely. So I was going to pick on you being a transplant from Chicago, but because you love hockey, you're going to get the mulligan on that one. We figure we'd throw you a mulligan.
Even after what we did to you guys in 2013?
That's all right. Hey, that's all right. Remember, you know it better than anybody, Coach. The game's played on the ice.
It is.
That's a good one. You guys hear that one?
Yes.
That was pretty funny. He's picking on the 2013 season. I don't want to blow you guys out with the headphones. All right,
No,
so
it's okay.
let me see. Do you guys have? I'm going to ask him one question, and then I know you were all going to dive in. So
I do have one
Go ahead.
question. No, this is Lucy. How you doing?
I'm great.
Good. It is a beautiful day out there. So tell us what it's like playing in COVID era.
So I don't. I'm not necessarily coaching right now for any particular teams, and due to the MIA rules, I'm not allowed to be around my players until we actually have tryouts. But I do own and operate my own skill development business, and so I do the skills for the South Shore Seahawks, which is played out of towns of Hull, Norwell, and Scituate.
Wow.
So my company runs all their skills. So on Sunday nights, I'm definitely on the rink with a mask, in the rinks with a mask. It's definitely, it's it's definitely it's a different time we're in right now. But I think the most important thing for my players moving forward and what I'm going to instill on them is it's just another reason why you just really have to take one day at a time, and really kind of just understand that there's just some things that are just out of your control, and as long as you can control what you can control and take one day at a time and just take life by the horns and strides like that, I think it'll help with a lot of things. So playing through this COVID era and coaching through this COVID era, like I said, it's different. But as long as you're safe about it, you're following the rules and regulations, it's still enjoyable. And it's just, some things that you might usually do, you just kind of have to scale back. But it's not too difficult.
But that interaction with the kids are still there, and that's most important, keeping them conditioned and still willing and ready to play. I think that's really important. That's great that you have your own business to help them do that.
That is, it really is.
Yeah.
Has it been a big challenge for you, around coaching COVID? Coaching around COVID.
Yeah. So definitely, like I said, I own and operate a skill development business for youth hockey players, and I you just kind of be creative with what you're doing. For instance, so when it kind of all went down in March and late February, March, and the rinks weren't open, and everybody was kind of taking that real precautious, first stand in the first couple months, and I kind of started doing at home workouts with a lot of my clients. So still staying active, but making sure that, staying 6 feet apart, working out with masks on and doing strength and conditioning and shooting pucks and kind of doing more house calls than kind of being in a mass facility like an ice rink. So you just I kind of developed that within my business over this last off season in the spring and summer with a lot of my clients and young players I work with. And then, over the summer, did some strength and conditioning for about 6 weeks, a couple days a week with all the players at Whitman Hanson. You just kind of make sure you're distant. We were outside on the football field, outside, away, everybody's distant, making sure not too many kids are in line. You can still do it. You just got to be creative. That's all. And also be cautious of the rules and regulations and modifications that are taking place in different areas and different facilities, and whether you're outside or inside, it's still able to work and work out. It's got to be a little more creative and a little more cautious. That's all.
Oh, that's awesome. All right, Coach, we're going to take our first break. We own you for the hour, right?
Yeah.
Great. All right, so we're going to take our first break. We're going to step away. We are highlighting Rob Peters, the brand new Whitman Hanson boys hockey coach. We'll be back with more right after this.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to 40 Sports Talk here at the news station, 1320 AM WARA. We are highlighting Rob Peters, the new Whitman Hanson boys hockey coach. So, Coach, I wanted to ask you, like, when we do have like a hockey season, like, what are your expectations then?
So, do you mean as far as the team goes, or as far as?
Yeah, like when at the start of the season, like.
Sure. Well, we have a very good. We lost two really key players to graduation in Solari and Chris Stoddard, both captains and leaders on our team. We lost another senior in Watson, who's also a captain and great leaders. So those are definitely big shoes to fill. And looking first, I was able to, when I accepted the position, I was able to really meet over the phone with my captains this year, and Jack Allen, Bobby Siders, and Kevin Willis, and they've really made the transition very smooth for me. They've kind of let me kind of know on the ins and outs of where they've been as an organization over the last couple of years, and so I'm excited. We've got a really good defensive core coming back. A really good senior goalie, and also a second goalie and junior. Eric Dean, the senior, coming back is Bob Siders. So we've got a really kind of older back end, which is really going to help. And I know from playing in the Patriot League the last couple of years, I'm familiar with a lot of these teams and a lot of these players, and studied a lot of tape on a lot of players, including the ones that I'm going to now coach. And so I'm really, like I said, really anticipate a really good back end. We've got a really good, forward who was a top line guy last year in Solari, the older Solari's brother. And we've got some really good juniors and some sophomores that will be able to step up and make some key impacts, I think. And then also, when trials come, just trying to see what else is there. I don't know a lot of these guys, because we did lose quite a bit of seniors. So I don't really know a lot of the young guys coming in, but I do remember some of them that were there last year playing, and I'm excited to get going and kind of build off of what we've got coming back.
That's awesome.
Wow.
All right, Coach. So first, I'm going to apologize in advance because it's not the other three guys. It's mostly going to be me. I'm going to jump around like a jump rabbit. No, what do you call that type of rabbit? I forget. Jackrabbit.
Jackrabbit.
Okay, I couldn't think of the animal.
Jack Rabbit.
I couldn't
Good
think of
stuff.
it.
Oh.
So anyway, my point being is that first off, the first thing I want to ask you is. Let's go back to your history, because I think people really need to meet the new head coach over at Whitman Hanson. And you briefly touched on your experience, and I know you're being humble because that's the nature of a hockey player. But so now I'm asking you if you could just educate us a little about your background and stuff like that, so people can really get to know the new head coach over at Whitman Hanson.
Sure. So I was born in Chicago, and I'll try to make it kind of short. I don't want
No, that's fine.
too much, but I was from Chicago originally. That's where I played all my youth hockey. I grew up playing elite AAA hockey my whole life. Like I said, I had an older brother who did the same and went on to play juniors in the NAHL and played Division III in Wisconsin. I was on that route. I was putting myself. I guess you would say that there's always what ifs out there. Well, where could I have played after? But I unfortunately had an injury when I was 15, 16 years old. I just gotten back. I actually went through state and regional tryouts for the U15 USA Hockey National Camp. And unfortunately, 3 months after that, when I got back and went into my season play, I fractured my elbow, and that kind of ended my career.
Oh, jeez.
It's tough. When you get to that age and you're playing some serious hockey. I was gone Thursday to Sunday twice a week, going up to play in Michigan and Milwaukee and Pittsburgh and Ohio and around the Chicagoland area. And playing serious hockey like that, it becomes a way of life, and because you want to play at the next level. And I had some looks, had some had some people, reaching out. Unfortunately, when I fractured my elbow, it kind of halted my career. I had a long talk with my father. My father just, he's a real humbled guy as well, and he said, you can always coach someday. You've always had a vision in mind for the game, and you can always be a coach. So don't think that it's the end of your career, just it's the end of your playing career. So I kind of took that kind of to heart, and I was actually a junior national golfer as well. So I went to college and actually played golf instead of hockey. But I stayed with it. I would always try to go up and watch my brother play in Wisconsin, up in Stevens Point, Wisconsin, in the Wisconsin-land area when he was playing college, and I kind of kept my mind around the game. And then when I got out of college, I was graciously enough, I accepted a position in the sports marketing branding kind of youth hockey grassroots with the New Jersey Devils.
Oh, wow.
NHL team. So I went and worked for the New Jersey Devils for 10 years. And when I was there, the owner of the Devils at the time, Jeff Vanderbeek, he also owned a club team called the New Jersey Rockets. And that's how I got started, because he moved some of his organization and teams down to our practice facility where the Devils played, and that's where our front offices were. And I just kind of got to know the guys at the organization, the club organization. And that's when I got my start coaching about 12 years ago.
Excellent.
I was developing kids at the midget level, which is like the U18s, and then the Bantam level, which is more like U16s, U15s, U14s. And then after a couple years of kind of learning how to be a coach and kind of trying to hone in what my philosophies would be and trial and error with them, I had some great mentors that helped me coach along the way. John Sorg, one of them, he played in for the Hershey Bears and kind of played in the AHL there, and kind of learned under him, and I learned under some other guys that I really got to know, and started developing my own philosophies that way. And I ended up running their whole U9 organization, U10 organization, and really working on skill development and kind of trying to make kids as good as they can be and get them ready for the next level. And, I was able to, it's always great when kids get done playing for you and they kind of keep coming back to you, but then when they move on and you see them playing juniors and prep school and all that, it really kind of makes you think that you are kind of doing the right thing. And then I was coaching there for about 8 years, and then my wife's from South Weymouth.
Oh, so that explains it.
Yeah, and we met. She was working in New York, New Jersey. I was working in New Jersey. We met in Hoboken, New Jersey, and got engaged, got married, and moved here about 2.5, almost 3 years ago. 3 years ago.
Coach, I have another caller on the line. Caller, you still there?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Go ahead. Hello.
Hey. Hello.
Yes, sir. Can you hear me? Oh, I lost the call. I'm not sure. That might have been Nate Rollins. All I did was move the volume up. And might have been Nate Rollins from the Whitman-Hanson Express, but I do have a message here from him, Coach, and he just wants to ask you a basic question. Have you filled your coaching staff yet? And are any of the former you have? Are any of the former coaches returning?
So that's a good transition for me, as both guys are going to be returning.
Nice.
Rick Tropiano and Joe Bina, and actually Joe Bina and I coached together 2 years ago when I first started at Scituate. He was one of the other assistants.
Great.
So we've worked together in the past, and we've got a pretty good friendship. Rick Tropiano, who I've met over the last year or so, and kind of getting along great with him as well. And that's part of the transition too. Is I didn't want to come in, and I was offered and asked if I can bring in my own guys, and I said I'm pretty happy with the guys that are here now. I don't need to make a change. Those guys are great guys. They're great hockey guys. They know the game, and they can also help me with my transition.
Awesome.
The kids know them. The kids trust them, and it's definitely helped with the transition as well.
Okay, next question. That was Tom Joyce. I guess that was Tom Culty calling in. You can call back. Next question Nate had for you was how big a help was the old coach Chris Guggens been during this transition?
He's been great. I haven't really tried to lean on him too much. kind of trying to kind of grasp my own kind of way about it. But I have had some questions along the way, and he's been great. Always gets back to me in a timely manner. Him and I actually, I was just with him last week. Last week, I had to go down to the school to pick up some pennies from him for tryouts and whatnot, and we kind of stayed and talked about some of the guys and talked about some other things that are going on. And you know, Chris is a great guy, and he's definitely. I have some big shoes to fill when I go there. That's for sure. I know that he's a great hockey guy. He knows the game very well. I know that his players in the past will skate to a wall for him. So it's definitely a loss with him leaving, but I'm excited and anxious to kind of step up and kind of take where he left off.
Excellent. James, if you want to call back, please call back if you have a question for Coach Peters. So here's a silly question I want to ask you, and some people might not know. Do you have any relation with Pete Peters?
I do not.
All right.
There's a lot of Peters out there.
Right.
I'm watching the BYU Boise State game last night, and there's one of the quarterbacks for Boise State's last name was Peters. And I was like, it just seems like every time I'm turning on the TV or something, there's another one. And no, it's actually Peters was shortened. My grandfather actually shortened it. It's actually my real last name should have been Petrovsky.
Okay.
It got shortened along the way from my grandfather on. So, but yeah.
That's funny. I bet you hear that when you come up to this area. You might have heard that a lot at one time, maybe. I can't be the first one ever that loves hockey to ask you a silly question like that. No.
It's the first one for that name.
Oh, really?
I've gotten. I forgot. The Peters is a goaltender. He was coaching the NHL. Then there's another Peters that played in Buffalo for a little bit.
Right.
Yeah. No. Anytime someone, every once in a while, I do get asked.
All right. At least I get the silly question out of the way during this interview.
Hey, ask away as many as you want.
Oh, we got more. All right, Coach. We're going to take our second break. You are listening to 4 Deep Sports Talk here in the news station, 1320 AM WARA, and online. You can listen to Coach on a TuneIn off the TuneIn's app and on WARA, the Facebook page. We are highlighting the brand new Whitman Hanson boys hockey coach, Rob Peters. We'll be back with more right after this.
The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention is working to help community safe from the threat of novel or new coronavirus. Take the following everyday steps to help avoid the spread of all respiratory viruses. Wash your hands often with soap and water, or at least 20 seconds. Cover your cough or sneeze with a tissue. Throw the tissue away, and then wash your hands. Avoid close contact with people who are sick. And stay home if you are sick.
Welcome back to Four Deep Sports Talk, everybody. This is Justin for the Sports Master, and we are highlighting Rob Peters, the new Women Hanson coach for hockey. You still with us, Rob?
Still here.
Okay. So I got a question for you now, and that is, you used to be with Scituate before you were at Women Hanson, and what was your fear when you were going against Women Hanson back in the day?
So it's the last couple of years, you're correct. I was with Scituate. I was in charge of running their forward, doing a lot of the film, running the film sessions, and kind of running the power play a little bit. That was kind of my role, and kind of helping assist the head coach in some of the philosophies and character that we're trying to instill, and how we play. And speaking of character, I mean that was the biggest thing whenever we'd watch film on Whitman Hanson, or we'd go watch games on Whitman Hanson. They definitely are a group of kids, at least my experience in the last couple of years, that they give you everything they got. I mean, they work hard. They play whistle to whistle. They back check you hard. They forecheck you hard. They give you everything they got for the length of the game. It doesn't seem like they really take a shift off. And I think again that's a lot instilled on some of the beliefs that Chris Guggen definitely had on his players, and it shows. I mean, they had a lot of success last year, and I think that was definitely. I think that would be the thing I'd have to say is that they definitely keep coming. When you think that they're not, they keep coming. So that's definitely a lot of how I like to play as well, and so that's what I'm looking forward to, kind of keep going on what Chris kind of left off, and I'm going to kind of pick up the pieces and keep going with that.
Excellent. So to add to Justin's question, what you mentioned a lot of great points. I don't think you left anything out, but your main goal is what coming into this new position? What you would say the first thing that comes to mind?
The first thing that comes to mind is definitely, I think about it quite a bit now that we're almost 3 weeks away if we start on time. And I think the big thing for me right away is that I want to gain the trust of my players. I'm gonna trust them. I'm gonna put them through a lot of tests. But gaining the trust from my players is always a big key thing. And I think the big way you do that is you just listen. You listen to the requests that they have. You listen to some of the our strengths and weaknesses, and you just try to build day by day. This is the third time I've come into a new team, from club sports to Scituate High School to now Whitman Hanson, and it's worked in the past. And I think just listening to what the kids and what the players have to say, and kind of building off that, but also working with my assistant coaches and working with what's worked here in the past, what maybe hasn't worked, and then also just putting my own stamp on things. And I mean, it's tough to say, you definitely want to say a big goal is, make it to the state tournament and then try to make it to the Final Four and then try to make it to the Garden. But unfortunately this year it doesn't look like we're going to have playoffs if we do have a season. So I think for me, first year in, definitely try to have a winning record if you're talking about wins and losses and goals that way. But I think just first and foremost, kind of is definitely gaining trust of the players and believing in them and letting them believe in what I'm trying to do for them is a big goal for me.
Excellent. So Nate Rollins, between Nate Rollins and Tom Joyce, they interact on our interviews and help us out. So Nate wrote an excellent piece about you. I don't know if you had a chance to read it on the Whitman Hanson Express. Mm-hmm. I don't take a good picture, but you seem like you're really photogenic. So they got you in the same picture. I'm being a clown, of course, but overall the article came out awesome. I don't know if you had a chance to read it.
I did.
Yeah, I always kid with Nate. He has a little bit of talent under his sleeve, and he does a lot of good research. And he's, small reporters like that are seriously unappreciated. Him,
absolutely.
Guys like Tom Joyce, who helps out the Quincy Sun and stuff. Mm-hmm. But so what does it take to make your team? What is Coach Peters looking in for a player to make the Whitman Hanson Hockey Club?
I definitely talked about how, Whitman Hanson in the past, we would do film on them. They were definitely a type of team that just kept going and gave it their all. And I I know a lot of coaches talk about it, it's a very cliche saying, but for me, it's never thinking that you're down. So when you're out there and we're doing drills and maybe you don't catch that pass, are you stopping on it, or are you rink turning away? Or if we're doing battle drills and a sophomore who's trying out maybe goes up against a senior, is he gonna be timid, or is that player gonna go in and try to give it his all? The big thing for me is compete. If you can show that you're at least trying to compete every day at tryouts, and you're competing, and you got the skill level, there's a spot for you on my team. Ultimately, a lot of it comes down to skill and skill development, and which players are maybe a little bit more skilled than others. But also a big part of it is, you talked about birthdays. Today's your birthday. A lot of philosophies that I instill as a former coach. We all kind of know him by the name of Herb Brooks, and I share a birthday with him.
Oh, wow.
Similar to how he was with his players, very hard on them, but fair. And then and see who can respond to that. And I think responding with just a great compete level, alongside a great skill level, and you can have some great success.
Absolutely. So, what is your projected schedule as far as in a perfect world, as I can, with this whole COVID thing, and I won't get too much in that because you did a great job touching on that. As far as your projected schedule, like you're thinking, I'll be hypothetical, like you're thinking maybe 2 days practice this day, meet the players that day, something like that. How's that? What do you have in mind?
You're talking about for coming up with tryouts?
Coming out with tryouts, the whole thing, just so people know, or maybe some people that are listening might not know. So we can also get the word out there as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah, sure. I mean, everything, it's a religion in Massachusetts. I've come to know that Monday after Thanksgiving starts hockey season. So I think, obviously, everything's tentative at this point. There's still some, I don't really want to touch too much on it because I don't know all the details, and I don't want to be paraphrased or anything like that.
Right.
And like I said, I'm taking this day by day along with everybody else. I do know that there are some things that still need to happen, some modifications, if we do have a season that need to be taken into account. Are we going to start on time? Are we not going to start on time? I don't know those questions. I will say, though, if we have a season and whenever we decide to start the season, the first 2 days of tryouts will be hopefully back-to-back, 2 days back-to-back. Should have a good basis, maybe not, of who the team might be a mock-up of after those 2 days.
Right.
And then the third day could be like, maybe have a couple bubble players that are either JV or varsity kind of come back. And then by the fourth day of trials, we should have a pretty good idea of who our varsity and JV rosters will be. I do. If the season does start on time, I've been working with a fellow Patriot League coach to set up a scrimmage, and in that case, maybe you bring a couple kids again that might be on that bubble to jump in on the scrimmage to see where they're at. But should have the team picked out. I would try to pick my team by at least the third day, or most of it by the third day, so we can get right into the scheme of things and get right into the mix.
Now, you mentioned the scrimmage. How many scrimmage were we, again, in a perfect world, and like you touched on, I mentioned before, how many scrimmages do you normally have, or how many do you normally want to really see, besides
Yeah. I mean, I'd love to have 2, but I think, like at Scituate, for instance, and I think this is with a lot of people, a lot of teams, you kind of have that first week of tryouts. By the end of the week, you kind of have what your team's going to be a makeup of. We used to have the first week of tryouts, and then that first Saturday, we would go to Medway and scrimmage Medway, and then the next day would be the Regan Summit in Marlboro, where you just kind of play like the state of Mass sets up a scrimmage. I believe it was a running clock, like 12-minute running clock, 3 periods or 2 periods running clock, and you played against a team that you wouldn't play in your season. So there would be basically 1.5 scrimmages, I guess you would say, and then the season would start up right away. This year coming up, again, everything's kind of up in the air. From my understanding, with some of the other things I talked about, we'll probably just have the one scrimmage, and then get into the thick of things.
Yeah, so I wanted to ask you, Rob, who is your favorite NHL player since you play hockey?
Well, so it's a toss-up. So there's two players that that are my favorite. One of them I never got to see him play because I wasn't old enough yet. Is Stan Mikita.
Oh, that's a good hockey player.
Oh.
Yeah, number 21 for Chicago Blackhawks.
Yeah.
He's a centerman. That's why I became a center.
Sam McKenna?
Stan McKenna, yeah, he played for Chicago.
Oh, Stan McKenna.
Stan Mikita, number 21, played for Chicago. Current, or not current, I would say a player who's retired that I kind of grew up watching a lot, Peter Forsberg.
That's another good name. He has a Stanley Cup ring.
And then if I would say a current player, if I want to be a homeboy, I'd say probably Patrick Kane. Just overall, I think there's a couple players. I think Brad Marchand or Nate McKinnon from Colorado.
There you go.
Are two great players. Nate McKinnon being a centerman, I believe, and or he kind of goes back and forth. But I love the way Marchand plays. Marchand plays a little bit how I used to play. I'm only 5'8", but when I played, I was only about 5'2". So I had to play with a little bit of an edge to get noticed. So I would say my game probably was a little more like Brad Marchand when I grew up.
There you go. All right, Coach, we're going to take one more break, then we'll hold on to you for another 10 minutes. Is that all right?
Yeah, you got me as long as you need me.
Excellent. All right, so we are highlighting Rob Peters, the new Whitman-Hanson boys hockey coach, here on WARA 1320 AM. If you want to call back, and I apologize, the other call-in number, same number he called in, 508-222-1320. You can check our interview out on the WARA Facebook page, which is linked to our website, and of course the TuneIn app if you just want to listen to the audio. We'll be back with more right after this.
Safe from the threat of a novel.
Hey, welcome back. You are listening to 4 Deep Sports Talk here on the news station, 1320 AM WARA and online, all one word, 4deepsportstalk.com. We are privileged to have the new Whitman Hanson boys hockey coach. I almost said baseball.
Oh, no.
I almost dropped the ball.
Oh, pick season, any season.
Yeah, Rob Peters. Oh, I heard him too. He just said, ooh. All right, Rob. So my Rob, my last question, I think is the last question before we let you go, is I hope some of the kids from Scituate follow you over there, and we were just talking about the software, and sometimes it happened. But my main question is, what advice can you give the kids that sometimes take it upon themselves that they automatically think they make your team or any team? What advice can you give them as far as conditioning goes to get ready to be at least a varsity hockey player here in Massachusetts?
Yeah, like I said earlier in our conversation,
Yeah.
for some of you that maybe just jumped on, high school hockey is a big thing in Massachusetts. It's not to be taken lightly, and I think that I always stress to all my players I work with, either on private sides or camps, clinics, or on teams that I'm coaching in the winter. I always tell them that it's okay to play multiple sports, but you really, if you really like the sport of hockey, it's really important to maybe try and get on the ice at least once a week. It's okay to take a month or two off from being on ice, but when you're 14, 15, 16 years old, if this is something you really want to do and this is something that you're passionate about, get in the gym. Sometimes you don't even have to get into gym. You can. What just happened?
I just knocked over a piece of paper. That's a good catch by you. You're too far away and you heard it.
You don't necessarily even have to be in the gym. I mean, there's a lot of stuff online. You can do workouts at home, no weight workouts. It's important to always try to stay healthy. You can run, you can bike, you can rollerblade, you can, don't think that, you can take 6 months off, show up to the first day of tryouts, and I've had it before, and I'm sure I'll continue to have it. There's definitely some kids who've gone through tryouts for me and couldn't make it to the first day of tryouts, and that's not a good sign because it's a sport that you can't take lightly. It's a sport that you got to be physically fit, mentally and physically fit to be able to compete at a high level. In Massachusetts high school hockey, no matter what division you're playing in, there's some good hockey players and there's some really good competition. So if you wanna, it's always up to the player. If you want to compete and you want to give a great compete level out there day in, day out, you got to make sure you're taking care of your body as well.
Absolutely. I just want to warn you now that you will see me at some of your games out there. You can't miss me. I'll be the old middle-aged, short, stocky, good-looking guy. I just want to warn you in advance. And, but on a serious note, we want to thank you. Again, congratulations, all of us at 4 Deep Sports Talk, like you mentioned at the beginning of the show, and WARA 1320. Want to wish you the best of luck, you, your staff, your guys. And again, we'll be snooping around, checking out those Whitman Hanson boys hockey games.
Yeah, thank you very much. I really appreciate you taking the time out of your day to want to even talk to me about hockey. So that's awesome there. I'm extremely excited. I hope that we get a season going. And I'm really looking forward to getting back and lacing them up and getting behind the bench as a head coach again.
Absolutely. Coach, all the best.
Thank you very much, guys. Really appreciate it. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.
Thank you, you too.
Thank you.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
All right, that was Rob Peters, a brand new head hockey coach over there at Whitman Hanson High School. Nice guy. Really nice guy. So with that being said, we're going to jump on the scores. Let me make sure I get it right, and I am going to send this over to the sports master. We're going to try to get them all in, and here is Justin Ferrara.
Okay. So in field hockey, in the Capes and Islands division, Monomoy 6, Falmouth 0, Nauset 2, Dennis Yarman 1, Sandwich 3, Barnstable 0. In the Patriot division, Hanover 3, Marshfield 0, Scituate 7, Plymouth South 1, Plymouth North 3, Hingham 1. In the Mayflower division, New Bedford 2, West Bridgewater 0. Moving on to boys soccer. In the Capes and Island division, Sturgis East 3, Dennis Yarman 2. In in the Catholic Central, Cardinal Spellman 3, East Bridgewater 1. In the Catholic Conference, Xavier 1, St. John 0, BC High 5, Magdalene Catholic 0, St. John's Prep 2, Catholic Memorial 1. In Mayflower, New Bedford 2, West Bridgewater 0, Bridgewater Random 2, Dartmouth 1. Moving on to girls soccer, in Cape Island, Dennis Yarmouth 3, Sturgis East 0. In the Catholic Conference, Notre Dame and Duxbury a tie 1-1. Hockomock, North Attleboro and Sharon both 0. In Mayflower, West Bridgewater 5, New Bedford 0. In the Patriot, Plymouth North 2, Marshfield 1, Situate 3, Quincy 0, Pembroke 4, Plymouth South 1, Hingham 2, Winhampton 0. In South Shore, Cohasset 5, Mashpee 1, Middleborough 5, Rockland 0. In Southeast, West Bridgewater 5, New Bedford 0. And Bridgewater Random and Dartmouth tie 2-2. And finally, in girls volleyball, Dartmouth 3, Bishop Stang 0.
There you go. Great job. Let me put the mics on. That might help if I put the mics back on. Great job there, Sportsmaster. Great job, like always. And he did that without taking one glass of water, which was really good. And again, big thank you to Rod Peters. So what I'm thinking next, so I am going to reach out to the Attleboro's, I'm pretty sure Attleboro has a new coach. I want to say, I know it's a new hockey coach. We'll try to get him in. And then East Bridgewater has a new football coach. We'll try to get him in. Still trying to finalize the Taunton Little League championship team, the Phillies, try to get them in or talk about, how we did with the other guys, talk to them. And then there was a gentleman I met at the fundraiser we did for Manny Del Carmen. He was a photographer. I have his card in my bureau, and I thought it'd be pretty cool if you could maybe come in or maybe call in and show us some pictures, and he could talk about the pictures and, what happened that we met at her behind the scene, because he takes pictures for the Celtics, the Bruins, and
Oh, so it's a sports photographer.
Yeah. So I thought that would be pretty cool.
I think that's great. I'd love to learn more about that.
Yeah, I'm just an instant camera $1 guy, or now on my cell phone.
Well, you know me, the paparazzi here.
Paparazzi, that's it. But again, I wanted to thank everyone who shouted out and took time out of their day. My grandkids up in Peabody. My granddaughter Layla just walked in the room and just sat on my bed and just took over. But I know later she'll realize it was my birthday. But everyone else on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, I want to thank you. It really means a lot. So we have a couple minutes. And if you want to call in real fast, 508-222-1320. And you want us to highlight your show, we have the new website that's going on. We're going to...
Yeah, it really looks great.
They really did a great job. And we're going to do a little bit of we're going to do a commercial. It's just a matter of getting everything together. I got the audio. I had the audio for a while. I was just busy at work, and I haven't had time to do it. So, but what I'll do is I'll just shoot it over to you guys, see what you think.
Okay.
Everybody, before we actually put money into getting it out there. But that's another thing. So we got a lot of projects going on. And then the Showcase Pro Wrestling wanted us to go out there and do something. And I was like, I don't know with this COVID if we really want to do it and all that other stuff. So
I think we're pretty safe, with people calling in, or if it's one person maybe come in studio.
Right, that just limits one of us sitting down.
I kind of miss the kids, though. I really do. I'd like to hear from the kids what they're doing out there. And, and aside from school, which is a challenge if you're learning remotely. So I don't know, maybe
absolutely
find some students out there, athletes.
Well, we're trying to reach out. Justin reached out to the him and I reached out last weekend to the Boys and Girls Club. And I got a response, and I told them what we wanted to do, but they haven't responded back yet. So I don't know what the heck is going on.
Well,
You
maybe
know.
a follow-up call.
Yeah,
See,
you know.
Sounds good.
Yeah. So as we wind down here, we have another minute before we go to station ID. What else are we missing? Are we missing anything else? Oh, big thank you to Nate Rollins and Tom Joyce and James. I think that was Culty that was calling in. I think that was James. I think I got the name right. He was calling in bad. Unfortunately, we lost him. He must have been, bad cell area. Been there, done that. Mm-hmm. But I'm trying to think who else we're missing. Did we miss any? Oh, you were going to reach out to
Oh yeah,
Newton, North Attleboro, right?
yeah.
Okay.
I have to. I still have to email her. I haven't gotten to it yet.
And what were you going to do, Luce? Do you remember?
No,
At least you're
but I'll
honest.
figure it out.
Right. There you go.
Most likely Swansea, Somerset, Seekonk,
Yeah, exactly.
Fall River. Yeah, see
a
what
lot.
they're doing.
All right, so for Luce Cabral, Catherine, a.k.a. KC, Justin Ferrer, the sports master, I'm Dominic Damian, along with Alex Mayo.
Yes.
We will catch you next time. Everyone have a fantastic weekend.